All right. Well, hey, executive directors for change, executive directors for change, executive directors and coaches opt for change. I'm Dee Corchin. We are here for our monthly ED and above. We call this our leadership call because you guys really are the leaders on our team. Sometimes we don't feel that way. You guys are the leaders. And so it's important that we come together. One, I think we've realized, I think more than ever, it's so important to come together as community. Your voices are so important. And we've got so many things we're juggling that really want to make sure that that we're clear, right? Because how can we lead if we're not clear about everything going on? It makes it difficult, right? A confused mind. So we've got a lot. I am excited to share with you a short video from Dr. A. We're going to go over some corporate things that were shared with the FIBLs, the Integrated Nationals and Integrated Globals, or Integrated Presidentials and Integrated Globals the other day. Some great stuff that the company is working on. And we're going to finish up with specifics with changes. And I really, better word other than change, solution of some of the things that are happening within our organization. And a lot of this came from our leadership retreat that we did in January. So that was just a week and a half ago, which was awesome. So congratulations. We're going to show a video tonight on Team Time about some of the great things that happened in January, but put a 10 in the chat if you felt an increase in energy in the month of January over maybe what was happening in the end of. Yeah, good, excellent. Just to give the opportunity to make this a little interactive, why don't, like, one or two people, you can pop off mute. What do you think contributed to your increase in energy? What was the shift? You may have to talk loud over the drilling.
Hey Dee, I think the shift was starting out with the coaches all in, and I think that just created a momentum.
Yep. When we lead with our own health, right? That general excitement, of all of us doing it, of that feel for what it is. Some people thought the price reduction. Yeah. Definitely. Good. The N for 10. Yeah. So a lot of what was talked about even on the leadership call was it really wasn't so much the price reduction, but I think we got excited about the price reduction and really got into action. A lot of coaches shared with me that they had reached back to inactive clients. They were doing things that make, the follow-up, some of the stuff that really is the difference and is the basics and the fundamentals of building a business with Optavia. It's easy for it to slip away from us. So this is, I think, a really good lesson for us that as we continue, agility and getting back into action is going to be really, really critical. And what we've kind of gone through in the past few months, because you guys know me, I like to talk about the real stuff, but we did see an overall, not everybody on this team experienced it, some grew, but in general, there was a decline in volumes, decline in new clients over the last few months of 2022, which actually exceeded I've done this for 12 years. It was at a swing than we have seen it before, but there's a lot of factors that play into it. And we've also shown that we could be on the uptick of it. And Optavia has gone through recessions. In 2008, Optavia, we grew substantially. And everything that I know about Optavia and from what I'm hearing from the leadership is that we are perfectly positioned. We are in an environment where people are fatigued. They are fatigued of all that was happening in the world with this post-pandemic. People are kind of spinning their wheels. You may have even felt that. A lot of people are dealing with some really heavy emotional stuff, and everything feels a little bit harder right now. But that is why what we have is our competitive advantage. our Habits of Health system and what we offer is our competitive advantage. It is what makes us different. And as we're going to talk about some of the things we're going to work on as an organization, really helping to provide great quality support, client support for our clients, and continuing to move in the direction of helping our doing a better job, helping our clients integrate into the system. And that takes work. It takes a lot of work and effort. But what I want to do, because we are, when you run into hard times, it is what we can define as a separation season. And you have probably seen it in some of your clients, right? When things get hard, some are going to persevere, some are going to run into the storm, they're going to pay attention, they're going to learn about themselves, they're going to learn how to grow through it. Yourself, right? We have a decision when things get hard, right? We can start to make excuses, blame. And as soon as we start to do that, that's when our business generally goes down. And you've probably seen coaches maybe on your team that haven't been able to weather the difficult times. So our emotional agility is so important for your own personal health and for the growth of a business. And trust me, with 12 years of doing this, that working through the hard times, working on yourself is the differentiator in that continue to grow thriving businesses. So I wanted to share, Dr. A is doing so much work in conscious leadership right now. And in fact, I hope you have it on your calendar for tomorrow at noon, his monthly conscious leadership. But there's also a lot of great little short videos that he does on his YouTube channel. But there was a great one on emotional agility. It's about 6 minutes. We're going to watch about 4 minutes of it. So I'm going to put it on right now because I think it's a great tee up for what we're going into next.
Emotional agility is kind of looking at it as a river. On one side is rigidity, on the other side is chaos. And that's how most people manage their life. They're either rigid in their thinking. The world has to be this way or I'm not satisfied. Or on the other side, chaotic in that I'm just going to react to whatever happens around me. And both those sides create a lot of turmoil, a lot of suffering and pain. In the middle is the window of tolerance, and that's what emotional agility is. So the lack of emotional agility puts us in the situation where we're no longer in power. We actually are giving it by being the victim to someone else. And as soon as that happens, we totally disconnect from the ability to help ourselves. So first, taking it back is so critical. So emotional literacy is about understanding our emotion. It's not denying our emotions. I know I came from an Italian family and, as a jock growing up in high school, we never wanted for a guy to cry. Well, all that stuff is harmful. When you feel something, if something sad happens, you should cry. Being tough and keep it down inside does nothing but cause problems later. The need for your emotions to be expressed is very important. It's when we take those emotions, internalize them, deny them, project them, and no longer know how to deal with them, they then become kind of stuck in our craw, and then they create dysfunction. Because the things happening outside of you are not the things that cause the troubles. The things inside you, when you take it personal, when you don't realize and recognize the world is just happening, the world is the way it is. When you start thinking the world has to be a certain way, that's when all the troubles come. So the first step is for us in emotional management and emotional agility is to be able to understand that stuff's gonna happen. It's gonna push our triggers. It's how we respond to it that determines the outcome, and that determines everything in your life and in your health. Emotional literacy means that we're actually starting to understand and study our emotion. Cool thing you can do is just, what am I feeling? What emotion is that? Am I fearful of something? Am I hopeful of something? Do I have joy? All those are important, but to recognize them, you start the journey towards emotional literacy. It's when we understand our body is a beautiful thing, and when it's coherent, when your physiology and your emotions and your thoughts are all in synchrony with each other, it's like a beautiful ballet. But when they're discord to each other, when one of them's off, it affects everything. So emotional literacy is first learning your emotions, being able to identify them and then understand how to release them so they don't get caught up like coils that are pushed down inside where I'm not going to feel grief. I'm not going to feel betrayal. I'm not going to feel those things. No, we need to address them and let them come up and let them naturally flow their course. And then we can get back to the reality, which is the reality of living. And the reality of living is not let your human predicament dominate you in your emotions and in your thoughts, but actually allow you in this area to plan your future, the things that are important, and put yourself daily in position to now take control of my emotions, my thoughts, and understand they don't define me. I define me. That's the key.
All right, was that helpful? Yeah, there's power, I think, in listening to Dr. A, and just hearing that different perspective. And that is going to be the differentiator, you guys, as we start to get better at this ourselves, our own conscious leadership. So much of this you'll then be able to see and be able to support your clients to help come to their awareness of it, the coaches on your team, et cetera. So that really is going to be a focus for this year. And it is the focus of the upcoming event, which is for us, which is the Launch to Global event that's happening in Dallas, the 20th to the 22nd. So if you're registered for that, put a 2 in the comments, just if you're registered or you plan to register to attend. So let's see what this looks like. So a lot of us might be on the fence about it, although this is making me happy to see so many of us, because this is about you. You know, investing in yourself and investing in your business is part of growing a business. But it can be hard, especially when we're coming through maybe a tough time. Maybe your business has not been as strong as you wanted it to. It can make us start to question, does this make sense? And we're always willing to have conversations about this. We never want anybody to go into debt over something like this. But sometimes we need another perspective around it, or just need to really think it through. Like I had some people say, well, I'm going to go to convention. I'm going to put my focus on convention. And convention is great, but it's different than this event. This event is for you as a rising, as a leader and a rising leader, to help you in your skills, but also to help get your cup filled. You know, what we do is not easy, being out on the front lines all the time. So to get your cup filled. So I wanted to have Gina Manley share. You might've seen Gina's video, but Gina, you've always been committed to attending events, but you kind of got it in your head maybe that this one wasn't for you, but had a shift. So would you mind sharing with everybody kind of what your thought process was and where it is now?
Sure. So I have always agreed with that's my dog moaning in the background, sorry, that you attend everything that's offered, whether it's virtual, in person. And if you qualify for an event, even more important to attend in person. And I've done it all. And I've been up in my head over the last several months. My frontline business has been fine. It's the awakening coaches and so on that I've been struggling with. And so, one of the other investments that I made a couple of years ago was in the Transformational Leadership Development Program. And there is an event for graduates in March. So I said, I'm going to that. I'm not going to Dallas. And Dee invited me to the leadership retreat. And I am sitting at the table with these other fabulous women, and we're all sharing lots of different things. And I say, I've decided not to go to Dallas. Now, there was no pressure from anybody. That was sort of, you might have heard a pin drop, but I just said, I'm not feeling it. You know, I'm going to this and I just don't think I'm going to go to that. And I heard myself say it out loud. And I thought, and then I realized I have a seat at this table. I'm part of the leadership team. Leaders show up. if we want to change our own mindset and our own habits of thinking, if we want to help grow our clients, integrate them, grow coaches, then we have to show up. So everybody continued to talk, and I went and I got on Compass Crew and I bought my ticket and I texted Beth Bilton and I said, send me your flight information because we fly together. And I booked my hotel and I was like, okay, I'm going to Dallas. And I might have shocked everybody when I mean, it was like a split second decision, but from the moment launch to global was announced, I was like, I don't think I'm going to go. You got to show up. You got to show up, most importantly for yourself, but to be able to lead others. So if you're on the fence, go. Just go. If you've had ED and you've slipped a little bit, get there, do it. You've got 2 more months to qualify. Come and join us. It'll be a lot of fun. And I hear that there's even going to be a team event.
Yes. We're working on it. We are working on it. Yeah. So thank you for that, Gina. Thank you. Hopefully that resonates with some of you, saying it out loud. I love that. And this one is going to have Jim Dethmer. The whole focus is on conscious leadership. So we know this is the direction. We know this is our differentiator as an organization. So we're working with you. We want to help you get there. We want to help you have people on your team that get there with you, because again, events are not only just about us, but it's potentially who do you bring with you. So Meg and I are launching on Wednesday something new to help people build stronger ED businesses, build to ED or build back to ED. So Meg, you want to share a bit about what we're looking forward to?
Absolutely. So this coming Wednesday at 12 Eastern, we are launching the ED Explosion, which is going to be jam-packed with a lot of action-oriented steps for you to take to get back to ED or to more stabilize your executive director place. So we know a lot of you are excited about Dallas, or you have that. So we would love for you to be there. If you are somebody who has a front line that is off the chain and you know you're going to make ED, and what you really need is maybe pour into yourself. Like I had another coach say, hey, should I come to this? I'm not sure. And she has great front line, and what she needs is to like go into a quiet room once a week for an hour. So just wanted to throw that out there. Like we don't like to have meetings. This is for the coaches that are on this call or that are on your team that really want to grow, that want to get back to ED, that are ready and willing to do the work to make that happen. And it's going to be powerful. It's going to be fun and really impactful. But just wanted to throw that out there. It's not just, hey, show up. It's really going to be something that hopefully will just catapult us all into the next level of our growth. So we're really looking forward to it. It's on Wednesday, 12 o'clock. We will see you there.
Yes, we will. Thank you. Lucy asked the question, will we record them? And we will. Absolutely. If you can attend live, we think it's always best. There's just a different energy when you attend live, but we understand it doesn't work with some people's schedules, or a particular week you may have a conflict, whatever the story is. So we will have those recorded as well. So, all right, moving on. Who wants some cool corporate stuff that's coming? Yes. All right. So I think I might, some of you guys, I was really at the beginning of this year, Nick Johnson came out and he actually met with all integrated presidential directors and integrated global. So everybody who's considered a fully integrated business leader. And he asked some pretty challenging questions about, what was our vision for me, what's my vision for 2023? What do I think the barriers are to potentially getting there? How can Optavia help? And I was really direct with it. Just like you, there's been changes in our corporate, environment, changes to our compensation plan, changing to our fueling options, lots of stuff. But what I really love, and this is what I have always found with Optavia, is they always do the right thing. Always do the right thing. Just as we are learning and growing, they are learning, growing, right? We've never been the fastest growing health and wellness company for 4 years straight with Forbes magazine. right? So they're making the best decisions they can to keep us competitive, to keep us growing, to keep us right. Because the worst thing in any business is to get complacent. Absolute worst thing to do is to become complacent, because then it's like backwards. So, but they're listening. And a lot of things were already in the works. They just had not been communicated yet. And they own that as well. So here's what they told us was coming as priorities. And some is just info, don't have the specific details, but at least gives us some reassurance and some things to look forward to. The number one thing is that their priorities is the Habits of Health system. As said before, they know that this is our competitive advantage, right? If you ever have anybody ask you, well, how do you compare to XYZ? There is no with what we offer with our Habits of Health education system and the community and the support. But they're also well aware that the current tools, the Lifebook and the Habits of Health, are not that user-friendly, right? They're big, they're bulky, they're hard to carry around. Not everybody likes to read a book, all the things. So yes, audiobook, ebook coming. All right. Can't give you the dates on that, but audio ebook coming. Also, and this one, Dr. A, when I tell you this man was on fire, he was on fire about this he keeps calling it this interactive tool that is going to be something that will work between you and your clients, that will be very, very beneficial to both of you, to both of us. So I'm excited to see. Now, they couldn't give us specific dates because it is technology, but just know that is going to be the continued direction we're headed. So while we're going to continue to do our best and be on team time tonight, as Lori and I talk about how to best support our clients and reactivated clients and getting them into what our current tools are, just know that is part of the growth of the company, is evolving into that. The second is, we knew that when they took away the 3% certification bonus, as they promised, they said, we are looking for other ways to utilize those funds that support what we want as a company, which is continued growth and development. So they had a couple of ideas. One was piloted, which was the Coach Accelerator for All, but something else is coming second quarter that they promise we will be excited about and will make a huge difference for us. So just know companies looking out, they get it with the compensation plan and all of that. All right, here's the big one. Ready? There's going to be an incentive trip announced. There's going to be an incentive trip announced. All right. So now some of you guys came in through COVID and we're glad you're here, but you didn't get to see the excitement and the feel and the fun of what it feels like to go for qualifying for an incentive trip. So what an incentive trip is basically the company will put out qualifications. Now, just know you don't just get handed a trip somewhere, right? An incentive trip is an expense paid trip, right? Somewhere where, but it's based on growth, right? So it is based on growth. So there will be qualifications that will be based on growth. So it's a win-win for everybody, right? You win, more people get healthy, more people become coaches, and the company wins, right? So it's a reward. So that is going to be announced. Oops, one second. Somebody's up. Hold on a second. This is awkward. So I have somebody at my door while I'm leading a call. Meg, can you take over for 1 second?
I will. So let me just tell y'all, incentive trips are so much fun. In the past, we have done a cruise. We have, I'm trying to think, put in the chat some of the other, there was a trip to the Dominican Republic. And you haven't really lived until you have traveled abroad with a team of Optivians and like all of the company. And there was the cruise, there was great training and a whole lot of fun. So really looking forward to hearing more about that incentive trip. All right, Dee.
All right. This is real life, right? Like just real life leading the call. So anyway, that's exciting, but I'm going to tell you something that they did share with us. We have to be in action now. They're going to announce the qualifications, but they said, if you're not in action now, adding clients and adding coaches, we will be behind when the qualifications are being announced. So they just said in the next few months, Lucy, qualifications announced in the next few months. So let's start you know what I mean? Just start. So who's excited? Put an 11 in the chat if you're excited. Who's going on that trip, right? We are going. And I'm telling you, from top to bottom, soup to nuts, whether you're a brand new coach, like what you don't know right now is who might be coming with you on your team. Brand new coaches can qualify, whatever, but we all have to work. Every single level has to qualify for this. So super excited. Okay. Don't know when that trip is going to actually happen, but there's usually a run up, a launch period of the qualifications to give us plenty of time. And then it usually happens a couple months after that, but they didn't tell us, Lauren, when it is. All right. So a couple other things companies doing, and I'm hoping are on your is we also really shared that we were missing Dr. A and leadership on a regular basis, Dr. A, Nick Johnson, and leadership. So for the next 3 months, they are going to pilot coach business calls. So this is going to be on Thursday. This week is the first one. Thursday, February 8th is our first coach business call. It's going to be a lot of Q&A. You might have gotten an email where they were asking for your questions on a specific topic. And I did learn the other day that future calls will be on Wednesdays. So this one is on Thursday, but future calls will be on Wednesdays. And this is being piloted for 3 months. So they're going to look for our participation in it, et cetera. And this is all coaches. So one thing that I shared with Nick was that when I was growing up in Optavia was like being on these calls and hearing from so many different leaders, hearing from Dr. A, having that vision, like that was a big part of my growth, my vision of what I saw, what was possible. So encourage your coaches to be on as well, right? So not just you, but also bring it on. These calls are weekly. My understanding is these calls are weekly. All right. And again, being piloted for three months. Okay. Somebody asked about fuelings. All right. So here we go with fuelings. They are working on, and I didn't understand it. To be honest with you, I did not understand why they were doing these fueling and enhancements. You know, I was like, I'm just going to, I'll show you my sarcastic side. I was like, just leave the chicken noodle soup alone. Who cares? That was my feeling on it. But what I learned, as they had one of the VPs of marketing speak, is that the enhancements of these fuelings, a lot of our fuelings have had the same popular, but they've had the same formula for like 10 years. And they have found when they revamp them and they use these test groups, et cetera, and they make them better, that it spurs more interest. So I've also realized, as I'm always learning and growing, we need to be promoting this more when something is enhanced, like the oatmeal or whatever, like make a bigger deal about it. Because our clients, as much as we don't want to make it about the food, for them, about the food, right? So make a bigger deal about, but what they've learned is when they enhance the fuelings, that they're ordered more on a repeat basis. And they want the variety of fuelings because people want variety. So when they have things that have been good sellers before, they want to keep them. So the ones that are being revamped, and if you've had the revamped chocolate chip pancake, it's phenomenal, but they are going to revamp the golden pancake, the lemon tart crisp bar, cookie dough bar, and the frothy cappuccino. So be out for those. And then in the next few months, later this year, they're still working on the formulas. 2 of the soft bakes from the Select line are going to be reformulated into the Essential line. So the cinnamon swirl, cheesecake, whatever you call it, that is going to be one of our gluten-free, and also the herb biscuit is right. So they're working on the formulas because they don't rush anything. They want to get it right. So enhancement, Lucy, means that the food scientists go back in and they make it taste better. Like they just did the pancake, they made it fluffier and put more chocolate chips in it. A couple of years ago, they enhanced the brownie. They added those white yogurt chips to it. So they just make it better than it currently is, make it taste better, or a different texture. So, and then the last thing around the expansion is that they are going to, they're going to put a focus on an expansion into the U.S. Hispanic market. The U.S. Hispanic market. So what that means is more tools, more resources for the U.S. Hispanic market, and they are also creating some new fuelings that would be a U.S. Hispanic market. Now, they made it real clear that now is not the time for you to go out and start taking, learning how to become bilingual in Spanish, so that this is going to be your new population, that really this is designed for us to begin to connect with the people in our world that are bilingual, right? That we can then, because really be on the look for new coaches, because our next expansion outside the US They couldn't tell us where, but it's south of the US. That keeps, yeah. So for our future expansion, so what we're doing is we're bracing and prepping for that. And we know that there's a huge need in the Hispanic population for health, right? So making fuel lanes, et cetera, that are appealing to them. And we do know in Singapore, Hong Kong, where their obesity rate has been crazy, the fuel lanes that we've designed for them have been really, really great for what it's doing over there. So I feel like I'm like out of breath. I got so many, and then there's more. No, that is the big stuff, right? The big thing that they talked about is that new is not the answer, right? Newness is not the answer. The fundamentals are the fundamentals and what we offer. Never lose sight of who we are and what you are offering. But it does help, right? Generating some excitement with it, with the growth. So if I'm missing anything in the chat, I will try to catch it later if I can't get it all in today, because we've only got 15 minutes left. And then the last thing is they are going to provide us some social media guidelines. Just in general, they know that people are looking for more guidance on social media. So I will provide that once I've had a chance to better go through it. And then they also know that we need some clarity on compliance. You know, maybe some of you have gotten some notes from compliance, or maybe from me saying, hey, you need be helpful if you put a disclaimer on this. Companies just trying to find that right balance of making sure that we're doing our job and that we're in good standing with the FTC, but to be fearful as coaches. So they are actually having a summit this week to kind of come up with a new baseline for that, some guidelines for us, and to be able to, be able to communicate and hopefully train on it in a better way. So how does that make you feel? You feel good? Any questions? Does anybody want to pop off mute? Anything that's kind of rumbling that you might want to know about right now before we move on to our Coaches Opt for Change?
I did just real quick. Are the Hispanic feelings, would they be available for everybody to order in the United States? Not just Hispanic, I'm assuming, right?
Well,
Well,
far as I know,
got
Beth,
that down.
yeah, far as I know, I don't really know how they would be able to define otherwise. So as
Yeah.
far as I know.
And then any other soy-free, gluten-free options coming? Do we
They didn't
know?
say. They did say that other things are in the pipeline, other things that, that they're working on. What they also don't want to do is go in just in general. So, there's a lot of things that they know that we need as a company, not just fueling wise, is it whatever, but they can't release everything because, again, like we talked about, a confused mind does nothing, and we can't be like squirrels chasing a bunch of different things. But so they're pacing themselves on it. But I was really glad to hear about the gluten-free, the biscuit and the cheesecake thing coming. So we have more. Yes, it is a whisper campaign, Frank. It is a whisper campaign that there will be an incentive trip coming. So yeah. So that just means that we don't have any details yet. Michelle.
Yeah, based on your past experience with the incentive trips, when you say growth, can you just give us a ballpark of, or what they in the past, what they've looked for, so we have some way to focus my energy in some ways? Yeah,
that's a great idea. Great question. They are generally looking towards the things that grow us as an organization. So most often sponsoring is involved. So number of coaches sponsored, number of it's not just sponsoring, number of like senior coaches brought on, potentially maybe becoming a blended ED. Like the cruise was about being a blended ED or going to FIBIC or breaking a new ED on your team. So a lot of it is about helping others, if that makes sense. So that's why being like, if you're in the run-up period now, continuing to this is my theory, and I don't know any more than you guys, any more than you do, but this is what I'm doing. I am going to be, looking to increase my front line, right? Bringing on new clients. I am going to be looking for and providing stellar quality client support, which I will admit has not been the best. I haven't done the best job lately, like quality support, but most importantly, integrating my clients, really working so that when we have conversations about coaching, like it makes sense for them, because them coming on as a coach so you can qualify for a trip doesn't do anybody any good, right? It still comes down to the basics of we've got to find their needs, right? So that's what it is. So take advantage, you guys, of all the tools we provide with team coaching, right? Having these conversations, we brought on, I think, 370 new clients. We should be doing 370 tips calls this month, right? In the next couple of weeks as they're getting going. Huge percentage of those should be moving to Coach Explores. And that's not even taking into consideration all your, existing clients and your reactivated clients. So really take advantage of the tools that we have. We've got the sneak peek into coaching tomorrow night. Hopefully you're inviting to that. So we're going to hard to try to provide the tools for you guys as well. Any other questions around before we move on? Okay, so hang on to the very end, because I'm going to tell you something fun that we're doing that's going to also help you in this arena as well. But some of this we've shared on, just want to make sure you guys are all, that we're all on the same page. But we have decided to close, or actually make, our Healthy for Life page dormant. All right, which that means Healthy for Life was our, I forget what the term for it is. It was like it was a place where people could go. It's kind of like a holding room for people that were not quite, what's it called?
Social proof.
Social proof. Yes, it was our social proof. But we've just realized it has not really had the effect that we wanted. So we have decided that we are going to make that a dormant group, which means we're no longer posting in that group or accepting new members into it. I also did a video in there and invited people to join our other group, which what this means is once you brought somebody through the health assessment process, so you do want to have gone through the health assessment process. If they're not ready yet, you can add them into Eat, Live, and Be Healthy. And they can be into our client group, because they get to then see the real-time client, interaction and support in that group is so much more lively with live real people results. So that is where you can add your candidates now. You can also invite them into our Tuesday night community calls and things like that, so they can really start to see what it is that we do that is so different. All right. So that is fun. And then what we're trying to do is streamline, so it's not confusing for you guys, where, like all of us, like what group do I do? Where do I put this? The other thing we're going to do is also, we have a Lean and Green Lifestyle. It is a Facebook page that Beth Belton has done a great job administering that for us. And it's a great resource tool. It will still sit there, but Optavia now has on their website all the Lean and Green, recipes. We have the Pinterest page. We've got a lot. So we are not going to add any more to that as well. And so some of the fun things we're going to do in the client, in the Eat, Live, and Be, is we are going to bring a little bit more food related in there. So on Wednesdays, Beth is going to do kind of a What's for Dinner Wednesday, and post a new recipe in there all the time, maybe get more generation and, conversations going around that. We're also talking about doing a Fun Friday fueling hack, where somebody comes in and does a little video on maybe doing different fueling. So really starting to do more video and more things that will really connect with our client. And thank you, Meg, for putting in there about all we have a new calendar for you guys with all the links of what we have. And we really want to continue to grow our Tuesday community calls. They have been for bringing in like 100, 130 people a week on those calls. And thank you guys for being on. Meg, you want to talk about our expansion and that and how we want more voices?
Absolutely. Well, hey guys, so we love the community calls. We've been doing them corporately with all of Coaches Out for Change for now over a year, which is really exciting. And it's been cool to see the numbers. What I love about these calls when I get to host is I love it because I get to spotlight my clients who I am thinking about for coaching, and I get to spotlight some of my coaches that don't normally get to be spotlighted. So they get to share their stories. It helps make them feel valued because of course they are valued. And so we were talking about ways that we could hear everybody's voices and be able to hear more from a variety of people. And so we are excited to announce that we are opening up the calls now to all executive directors. So we have a sign up sheet and you will basically sign up. You'll select your own topic For example, Michelle is going to be leading us tomorrow night, I think, on tips around the Super Bowl and Valentine's Day, I think. But you create your own topic, and we have the instructions, we have everything done for you. And it's just a way for you to for us to spotlight you, right, as one of the top leaders of the organization, but also for you to be able to spotlight your coaches and your clients as well. So just wanted to give you an update on that.
Awesome. Awesome. Meg, maybe you can put the link for the sign up in the comments as well. So, so Jennifer, you just asked a question. What I heard, Jennifer, is that these calls after this week will be on Wednesdays, is what I learned. So we'll adjust the calendar. I had just learned that. Guess Friday. I learned that on Saturday on the boot camp. I learned that. Okay, so the couple of things we know with integration for our clients is we know that the two things that make a big difference in client success is when they are integrated into the Habits of Health system, and also when they live their journey out loud. Right? We just know when they live their journey out loud, get out of the dark, and do their post on Facebook, et cetera, that they have the added accountability. They're going to start to influence the world around them, and then increases the opportunity that they're going to refer to you, or that they are going to potentially become coaches themselves, and explore that when they start to see people asking questions. So we've got something fun that we are going to do in the month of February. And it's called our February Face-to-Face Challenge. So let me show you the flyer. This is going to be posted. I'm going to do it after team time tonight so I can advise the entire organization about it. But let me show you the flyer. It's cute. And you might recognize your face on here. But we have, oops, sorry. Sorry. That didn't work. Hold on. Well, details. But you'll get to see it, but it's our face-to-face challenge. So what this means, and we've got a Google Doc with instructions for you. In fact, I can pop that in the chat for you as well. But what this is that we are encouraging our clients, and you can participate, encouraging our clients to post a side-by-side face-to-face picture of themselves on their main wall. And we're going to give them where they tag you in the post. It's just a little short sentence. They will get very instruction that they have really two things to do. We're going to have one post that is pinned in the Eat, Live, and Be Healthy group telling about it. And then what they have to do is post on their main wall, and then also post their picture in the comments, because every time they post in the comments, we're going to all see those pictures, and it will continue to generate activity. We can participate as well. Now, here's what I know, right? Now, we're just telling our clients to put a side-by-side together. We're referring them to you if they want to help with a side-by-side, but you do not, go ahead and pop it up, Meg. That'd be great. There it is, our February face-to-face challenge. So we tried to have a diverse group of people with their pictures there. And I have been seeing a lot of our clients posting their face-to-faces in our Eat, Live, and Be Healthy group. So we'll have to be making it clear when you're talking to your clients that this is on their main wall. Take that down, Meg. This is on their main wall that they post, but you can do it too. Right? So if you follow the guidelines, if you post on your main wall and you put your picture in the comments of the main post, we're going to give out $50 weekly prizes. So $50 a week for your name goes in a drawing if you do it. So they could win a $50 prize for it. And then we're going to do at the end a $250 grant. And so this runs from February 6th. We're going to start it today to February 28th. So we've got all these new clients that are coming on, and they can enter every single week, right? One time per week. We don't want them to flood their pictures out there, but one time per week. And we know that a lot can happen in just a few weeks on programs. So first time out with this, we've seen other teams doing it, but love that you love the idea. But do you have any questions on that before we wrap up? We do have the instruction document.
Do I have a question? So
Sure.
I was just looking at the document. So are we going to pin this to the featured? I guess I'm just wondering, like, how do I communicate it effectively with my clients other than tagging them on the post? Do you have a suggestion about that?
Yeah, I mean, you can always tag, but just realize that probably that's like one layering technique. I think in your weekly call with them, we tell them about it, right? We tell them like, hey, that this is something great. And like Meg said, every client call and every tips and celebration call, talk about it, and encourage them to participate and why. Right? Why does it make a difference for them? Right? Can they win a prize? Yeah, but the prize is way bigger, right? By their added accountability and inspiring of others. So I would do it in that. You could, text reminders to them with the image of the flyer. We do have it with the compliant thing on it. But what I was going to tell you is when clients share their story, they're side by side, they do not have to put the disclaimer on it. So don't get hung up that they've got to put disclaimers. If they are sharing it themselves and they are not a coach yet, they can do whatever they want. But when you share yours, or if yours, and don't share if theirs for them, but when you share yours, you as an Optavia coach always have to put disclaimers because you are representing Optavia as an Optavia coach in that. Does that make sense? All right, awesome. Awesome.
And you said there's directions in the Google Drive?
Yeah, so I just put there's a post that will go up and it has clear directions for the clients in it. And then that I to Betsy in the chat here, that is the coach document for it. Don't send that one out. No need to send that out. They can get their everything they need from the Facebook post. And that's where you'll redirect them.
Got it.
All right. Says enough. Have you absorbed it all? Good stuff. All right. Well, good. Well, I hope you are as excited as I am. I am glad you were here, that you invested in yourself to continue to learn, to grow, be ahead of, be on top of everything that's happening. If you're not registered, I hope that you will plan to participate in Launch to Global. And if you don't quite qualify yet, be with us on Wednesday in the ED Explosion group. So, all right. Very good. Love you guys. We'll see you tonight on Team Time.